Hey everybody, welcome to the Executive Job Search Secrets webinar. My name is Chris Kirkpatrick, and I'm going to let the room fill up here just a little bit. But as I do that, let me kind of give a little bit of an introduction about what this is all about. Ultimately, my guess is if you're here, this isn't the first time you've looked, right? The whole purpose of this webinar is ultimately to show you how to find your ideal position in the shortest time possible, regardless of where you're starting, what industry you're in, the size of your network, or regard of your technical experience. Because I talk to a lot of people all the time that are like, I even talk to clients that aren't even good with email, right? And so a lot of people don't feel like they're capable of using LinkedIn or the internet, all these different things. Regardless, the whole purpose of this, when it all boils down to, is to really help you focus in on your job search to be as effective and efficient as possible with your job search. Because if you're proactively looking, and especially if you're in between jobs right now, finding a job is your main job at this point in time. So if you're going to be doing it and doing it anyway, I want to make sure you're spending that time being as effective and efficient as possible during that time. So here's the bottom line. I am extremely passionate about this stuff, right? Now, I know as I go through this webinar, I apologize ahead of time because I have a tendency of going on tangents, but I promise you, if my mind goes on a little bit of a tangent about a topic, the purpose of that tangent is to provide value, give you more coaching, and hopefully help you out. But here's what I also know is that this is going to be a commitment for you to kind of stay through this. And I really encourage you to stick it out. And I'm so confident that you're going to love what you hear. And I really just want to serve you and help you solve your problems that you're having in your job search. And I know that the information in this webinar can help you do that, I'm ethically going to bribe you with a couple documents, PDFs that we have. What they are is ultimately, this is worksheets. These are worksheets that we have every single one of our clients complete. What I know to be true is that there are two challenges every job seeker has. Some job seekers obviously have more, but there are two that almost every single one has, and that is how to clearly communicate their value, and the second one I'll get into later. But how do you clearly communicate your brand and your value? That is one of the hardest parts of going through a job search, because it's hard to see the forest through the trees for a lot of people. So my ethical bribe to you is that if you stay to the end of this, I'm going to put up a link where it's going to have a link where you can go and download these two worksheets for nothing. Now, normally I sell these for $97 a piece. Every single one of our clients has to use this. This is the roadmap to setting up your brand and getting everything started. I want to give them to you for free. You don't have to pay me anything. I'm just going to put a link up at the end. All you have to do is stay here, take some notes, help yourself compress the time of your job search, and we'll go from there. So what am I going to cover in this webinar? Well, my guess, and I'm guessing that for a lot of you, this isn't the first place that you've looked for help. Now, the first thing I want to mention is that if you've been struggling with your search, it's not your fault, right? There's a lot of information out there, and quite frankly, it can be extremely confusing. Oftentimes, that information overload is what's actually keeping you from success. Now, if you've been concerned because you haven't been able to find the right opportunities or the right people, I want to put that at rest, because I'm going to explain to you exactly what you need to do. Because if you've been struggling with how to effectively communicate and articulate your brand, I'm going to show you how you can position yourself as the best investment opportunity in the market for what you do, right? Now, the reality is, to be successful with your search, you need to understand the different players in this space and what they do, what roles they play in assisting you with your search and how they affect you, right? Now, there are two main players in the industry that most people feel they need to lean on or leverage to be able to find their next job successfully. Of course, there are job boards. We'll get into that later. But the two entities or groups or organizations are recruiters. Now, recruiters, it's important to understand that recruiters don't work for you. Their job is to fill a specific position for a specific company within a specific time frame. Now, even if you get lucky and you find a recruiter that responds to you, which the odds of that are low, the odds of everything lining up for you where they're representing a job and they're filling a job for a specific company in a specific area within a specific time frame, and it lines up with your skills and expertise and background, and you're the perfect candidate, that's about 1% that's going to work, if that, right? I mean, 1% at the best. And so it's key to understand that the reason they're not calling you back, it's not because they're bad people. I know a lot of really amazing people who are recruiters, but their job, their alliance and allegiance is with the company, not with you. And so don't get frustrated. They're not paid to coach you. They're not paid to look over your resume unless it's in the context of the job posting that they think you might be a good fit for. And if they want to look at it, believe me, they'll ask you for it, right? So that's key to understand. Now, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about recruiters and the dynamics of all this as I go through this. It just has a way of working itself in there. But that is, I'm going to cover for them for now. The other group that I think is misunderstood is executive search firms. Now, those are the firms that represent you, right? Now, while these organizations do some good, I'm going to try to be easy. Well, no, I'm just going to say it. Ultimately, they're ripoffs, right? So what happens is you pay them an amount of money, they charge you an upfront retainer, and it's $10,000 to $15,000 or more. I mean, I've talked to some executive search firms that charge $40,000, and basically what they do is they sell you on the fact that, hey, we have this network, we do this, we do that, you get coaching, we're going to connect you with the right people, and if what you're struggling with is your brand and connecting with people, we'll do all that for you. You pay us up front, and I'm here to tell you that's a ripoff, because nothing could be further from the truth. And if it sounds too good to be true, I was always taught that it typically is too good to be true. So if you've ever thought that this system kind of sounds like it's not set up for success and it doesn't work, of utilizing recruiters, utilizing search firms, utilizing job boards even, I'll throw that in there for this, it's because it doesn't, at least not for six-figure plus income earners, right? Think about it this way. When you think about job boards and ATS systems and most of the information and technology that's geared towards a majority of the workforce and job seekers, it's designed for the masses, right? Only about 5% of people are ever going to reach $100,000 and up in income. So what mid-level employees do to find a job, if you go out and do what they do, you're going to be extremely frustrated. And that is why I created CareerNext. So six-figure plus professionals could have all the tools, resources, and support that they need to find what they're looking for in the shortest time possible. So as I was putting this webinar together, I was thinking to myself, who are the people that I want to help with this webinar? Who are the people that I talk to every single day, and what are their struggles and what are their challenges, and what's the information that I can serve? And so the people ultimately that I want to help are twofold. Job seekers, right? That's first and foremost. But really it's the people that are either just starting or the people who have been that have been struggling for a while. You know, typically I talk to people every day that have been in the job search market, you know, looking for their ideal position for 6, 8, 10 months, even more sometimes. And it's astounding to me how I see some of the most successful people struggling with their job search, that people that I would never imagine would be struggling. And ultimately I love being able to, there's nothing I love more than being able to help give them some momentum, give them the tools, the tricks to get going, and you know, just really just give them the process and the plan to execute, because that's what I find is that it just takes a plan to execute. The other people are the people who are just beginning, who want to start off, who want to get fast results. You know, because what I love to work with are people who want to take action, who want to hit the ground running, who want those results and are really motivated. And I find, you know, usually the personalities of people, they either have to get beat up a little bit first, or, you know, they're really wanting to take action and they're motivated and they want to get moving right away. Typically the person who's a month or, you know, 6 weeks in isn't quite beat up enough yet, and they feel like they got it all figured out and they could do it. And then I can't tell you how many people I've talked to a month into their search, and then they came back 8 months later being like, wow, man, I wish I had called you back. I wish we'd started working together before. My life would be a lot different at this point in time. And, you know, whatever. It's just all part of everybody's process, everybody's journey. But that is what it is. So the second thing that I have. My second goal for this is really to get you to understand that your job search really just comes down to these two things. And it really is as simple as this. All you need for success with your job search is these two things. Get these two things down, and everything else will just be noise. Like, everything else will fall into place, and it'll work itself out. I promise you. If you can focus on these two areas, everything else will take care of itself. So the first thing is, you need to know how to communicate your brand and your value in a way that positions you as the number one investment opportunity in the market for what you do. If you can do that, if you can clearly articulate that, then you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of your competition. I know it sounds pretty straightforward, but I'm going to talk about this in great detail as I go through this webinar on how you need to do this effectively. And the second thing that I hear, and if I had $1 for every time I heard this, I'd be rich, but you need access to the right companies, the key decision makers, to the organizations that fit your ideal profile. Most people don't know how to target them. They don't know how to discover them. They don't know how to get in front of the right people. And if I heard, well, I'll just say it this way. I hear every single day, if I could just get in front of the right person, I know I could get the job. I just don't know how to find them. I don't know how to get in front of them. And so that's what I'm going to answer for you in this webinar. So before I get into anything else, I guess you probably are going to want to know a little bit about me and, why you should even care about what I have to say. About 10 years ago, I was the head of recruiting for a Fortune 1000 company. I left there. I started my own consulting company. I help companies build their brand and internet marketing and web presence and utilizing all the technologies to help scale their businesses online. And that's where I met one of the top executive search firms in the country. Ultimately, I went in, they became a client, we helped them, we did some amazing things, and it was so amazing they made me the VP of marketing for the company. I fell in love with this industry, and ultimately I founded CareerNext last year. And so the question is, why did I create CareerNext? Well, like I said, 10 years ago, I was a head of recruiting for a Fortune 1000 company. And after becoming the VP of marketing for this top executive search firm, I realized how much people were struggling with their job search, right? Now, here's what I know about me. I've always loved helping people, whether it's financial coaching, the business coaching, internet marketing consulting, personal branding, all that stuff. I just love helping people. Now, I got to tell you, I never thought I would be in the career coaching industry. And then several years ago, I took on this client, in the executive search firm world, and they were one of the top executive search firms. And I learned a lot, within a week of joining them and starting to work with them and learning what they did, who they helped, how many people were struggling with their job search, and ultimately why they were struggling, what was holding them back. I had a couple of aha moments, right? So first and foremost, my first aha moment, I should say, is why is it that some of the most successful people in the world instantly become reactive and give up control of the results when it comes to their job search? They would never do that in their business. They would never do that in life. Yet, for some reason, it's astounding to me. It happens all the time. Secondly, everyone needs help. And most people would like it because it's hard to see the forest through the trees, right? Like, everybody needs help. Just because you're amazing at what you do for work doesn't mean you're amazing at finding a job at what you do, right? The problem is the industry isn't designed to help the executive job seeker. Recruiters work for companies, as I said, and executive search firms charge $10,000 to $15,000 or more, and that's a big check to cut when you're out of work, when you're having to think about, like, do I want to invest in my career or do I need to keep this money in savings to make sure that my mortgage and my car payments and my food is on the table, and maybe I have college bills for kids or myself or any of that stuff. And they either couldn't emotionally do it or they couldn't financially justify the payment, right? And that just bugged me, especially with my background with internet marketing. And I became really frustrated, as I was talking to people and getting involved and learning it, because part of my process is I was doing some sales for them too, because I had to get on and I wanted to have these conversations with executives to really learn and ask questions and figure out what was going on. And it became so frustrating for me to see why people were not acting in their own best interest, right? And it was because of fear and lack of resources. And I was blown a way that there wasn't anyone out there who would advocate for the executive job seeker without this huge retainer fee on the front. Now, yeah, there are resume writers out there who can make some amazing resumes. And don't get me wrong, there are some amazing resume writers out there. But the bottom line is that's not enough either. Nobody hires a resume, right? And so I could give you the best resume in the world. That's not going to get you anywhere. And that's why I created CareerNext. That's when the idea of CareerNext started to kind of creep into my head. So what I did was I took my background in recruiting, I took my expertise in personal branding and marketing, and I took my relationships that I developed and cultivated in the career industry, and I pulled it all together to create something that this industry hasn't seen yet, which is a system for executives that blends hands-on coaching, creation of all marketing documents, and execution of strategic business plan to create a predictable result for you to help you find your ideal executive position in the shortest time frame possible, all at a fraction of the price that you could find anywhere else that anyone was charging. That was my big, fat, audacious goal, and I'd like to say that we accomplished it. Now, there are two challenges, as I said, as we go through this, and as I looked at my CareerNext goal, I knew that when I created this company, it needed to be able to solve these two challenges. And as I was talking to all these people, these are the two challenges that everybody was having. And that is, like I said before, A, knowing how to clearly communicate and articulate your brand, and B, 2, knowing how to get in front of the ideal companies and decision makers. So think about it this way. First and foremost, we help you have clarity about who you are, what you do, the problems you solve, and why you're the best investment opportunity in the marketplace for what you do. After all, think about this. If you are not clear about that, if you can't clearly articulate that, how can you expect any company in the world to be clear enough about you yourself if you're not clear about you, at least to the level of being willing to invest in you? If you're not clear about you, no company is ever going to be clear enough about you. So that's the first problem. Now, the second problem we solve is to help create a business and marketing plan to actually target the companies that you'd be the best fit for and help you get in front of those companies in the most effective way possible, utilizing today's modern technology, right? Rather than have a reactive approach, it's about creating a business plan and executing that plan, because I know that if you can dial in those two issues, you'll find not just a job, but the job, and that's what's going to help you do it in the shortest time frame possible. And ultimately, that's why I started CareerNext. All right, so it all comes down to 3 secrets that I find that if you could just have the answer on how to do these 3 things, that your job search would be infinitely easier, right? And so secret number 1 is how to find executive jobs without using recruiters or headhunters or executive search firms, right? Secret number 2 is how to position yourself as the best investment opportunity for your ideal targeted companies. And secret number 3 is how to find and connect with key decision makers to find your ideal opportunity before it becomes public, because jobs are posted are very rarely posted or advertised. They're hired through private networks, and you got to be able to have a process and a plan to discover those jobs, and that's what we're going to get into. So secret number 1, how to find executive jobs without using recruiters, headhunters, or executive search firms. Now, here's the problem with recruiters, headhunters, and executive search firms. Now, when I was working at the executive search firm, I remember learning their philosophies inside and out. Now, I would see client after client come in, and I talked about this a little bit before, but these were some of the highest performers in the world. I mean, CEOs of companies that you would recognize the names to, right? Now, they were paying $15,000 to come in because they couldn't find a job. And I remember myself thinking, how is it possible that these people are struggling? Look how successful they are. They've got everything. They are the picture of success according to the outside world. Then over and over and over, one by one, I listened to each person explain what they were doing to find a job. And that was, they would go out, they'd put together a resume, they'd submit it to job postings, they'd try to connect with some friends or people in their professional network on LinkedIn or, via phone call, maybe email. They tried to connect with recruiters at minimal response, and they had no results. And ultimately, that's why they fell back, and then they called the executive search firm, and they were so desperate at that point in time because of the lack of results, that that they did it. But maybe they reached a second round of interviews as they went through this process, a time or two or whatever. But the bottom line is it didn't get them anywhere. So they had this desperation and they just went there. Then I saw them learn that if you want to be successful with your search, you can't rely on recruiters or job boards or headhunters, at least not at the executive level. And here's why. The risks are just too high for a company. It's human psychology. Think about it this way. If when an organization needs to bring on new leadership, what's the first thing that they think about? Who do I know that would be a good fit for this position, right? Like if you had to hire, the first thing you're going to think is, who do I know that would be a good fit for this job? The second thing they think of is, who do I know that knows somebody that'd be a good fit for this job? That's because the stakes are so high. We don't want to rely on hiring cold connections because it's too expensive if we get it wrong. And it's hard to get to know someone well enough in a short enough period of time to be willing to take a risk on them. And especially in small to medium-sized businesses, ultimately where most of the hiring is done at the leadership level, because that's where most of the opportunity exists, they hire people they know, like, and trust, or at least they rely on their network to help them. Because if Joe trusts you, right, it's easier for me to trust you. And that's just human nature about anything, whether it's going to a good movie, whether it's going to a good restaurant, or hiring a great leader for your company. Now, as soon as I realized that this was just human nature, it made 100% sense to me why these jobs were not publicly posted or advertised. And when you understand that, it's like a light bulb goes off, right? So when that happens, you just start doing things differently. And when I saw our clients shaping their activities around this knowledge, they got the results and they got them a lot faster. So like I said before, how much sense does it make to spend 90% of your time focusing on maybe 10% of the opportunity? If you did that with your job, with any company you're trying to run, that is the most certain recipe for failure in anything you're going to do. And you wouldn't do it. So why do it with your job search? The answer is don't do it. And remember I said earlier that recruiters don't work for you, they work for the company. I'm going to keep drilling this in because you've had years of conditioning, so I'm probably going to say this over and over again as I go through this, but they don't work for the company. They're paid to fill a specific position for a specific company within a specific time frame, and people hire people. Your ideal job won't likely be posted or advertised, right? You need to have a business plan, then you need to execute that plan, and you need to target and connect with ideal companies and key decision makers and have a plan to cultivate relationships with them, right? Get introduced to them, network effectively, and I'm going to get into all that. So secret number 2, how to position yourself as the best investment opportunity for your ideal targeted companies. Like I said earlier, if you're not clear about who you are, how can you expect a company to be clear enough to be willing to invest in you? The reality is you need to build your story, right? You need to. Now, I used to think that the resume was the key to landing an awesome job, right? I think that's what a lot of people think. After all, if you could take all of my background, experience, successes, degrees, certifications, and get them all in front of the right person, how could they say no, right? Here's the problem. I've seen some horrible resumes, first and foremost. Amazing resume writing is really an art form. It truly is. And now I've seen some of the best information on the ugliest resume, and it will never be read. But more important, I realized that most of the people I've ever hired and all the clients we've helped have success didn't use their resume as an initial as the initial means of outreach during their job search. Even more important, once you hit the executive level, your ability to get the job is less tied to your background, degrees, and certifications than in previous positions. Now, it's not that those don't matter, because they absolutely do. So don't take that the wrong way. Your background, certifications, successes, all that, it absolutely matters. Here's the deal. It's not going to differentiate you from your competition. It's not enough to just have a resume or think of having a resume and thinking that that is going to do your job for you. You need to think of yourself as a product for sale in the marketplace, and you are your salesperson, right? You need to make sure that you have a brand, your resume, a pro forma, an executive pro forma, a LinkedIn. You need to make sure your LinkedIn is optimized. Those are all assets that you need for your job search, all marketing documents, tools, and here's the bottom line. At this point in time, it is 2019, and the most powerful tool by far above your resume, above anything else, is going to be LinkedIn. Like it or not, companies are using LinkedIn to make decisions. They just are. Leveraging LinkedIn as the tool it can be will make or break you when it comes to your job search. It is the place for you to highlight your brand, to stand out from the crowd, and differentiate yourself. More importantly, I can tell you that with our clients that we've worked with, those who use LinkedIn, and this is important to understand, and have a proactive strategy on LinkedIn, reach success about 70% faster than those who don't. How crazy is that? 70% faster. So here are the mistakes that people make. They lead with their resume. So I'm going to tell you right now, please do not lead with your resume. If you're leading with your resume, you're doing it wrong and you're costing yourself opportunity, and you don't need to be. It's really like the alternative is not that hard. You just need to do it, right? So then the other alternative is they think, okay, I don't need a resume. Well, they also feel like they can write their own resume. They can do it. Well, once again, you're probably not a resume writer, and like the best resume writers in the world do this every single day. It's an art form. They study it. They know all the best practices. They're up to speed. Maybe if you were entry level or if you were a mid-level manager and your skills could override a weak resume design, a weak resume format, all this, then maybe I would say, okay, you could get away with it. But if you're going for a six-figure position, it's not an option pretty much, unless you have some really amazing graphic design skills that I don't know about or more than most people have. Please, don't fall into that trap. The other thing is people think they're not technical enough to use LinkedIn. Utilizing LinkedIn is not just creating a LinkedIn profile and having a presence and putting up a photo and putting up your background. It's doing that can actually hurt you because it shows that you did it halfway, right? And the bottom line is that's one of the reasons that I created an academy, and I'll get into that later. But is to help people really understand LinkedIn is not that confusing. Even if you're not a techie, even if you're not comfortable with social media, LinkedIn is a different animal. It's not the same thing as Facebook. And I think most people understand that, but they're overwhelmed or maybe a bit intimidated about what to do on LinkedIn to be effective. So like most people, when you don't understand what to do, you do nothing at all, and that is what it is. So now, if you want to differentiate yourself from the market, you need to be different. And one of my friends always says the root word of differentiate is different, and you need to be different. You need to build a brand, not your resume, build a brand, and a good portion of your search should be focused on working and marketing that brand, building that brand, networking that brand, sharing that brand. That's what's going to open up more opportunity for you. And if you don't know how or can't do that effectively, you're in for a really long search. So, secret number 3, how to find and connect with key decision makers to find your ideal opportunity before it becomes public. Now, I know I put this as secret number 3, but the bottom line is it's one of the most important components of your job search is understanding how to find and connect with key decision makers and ideal companies. Now, I said this before, one of the most common statements I hear from job seekers who haven't figured it out yet is, if I could just get in front of the right person, I know I could get the job. I just don't know who or where they are, right? Now, initially, that mindset made sense to me. After all, you can be the best fit in the world, but if you don't know how to reach them and they don't know who you are, what good is it? You could be the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about you, it doesn't do you any good, right? This is where the importance of a system comes in, right? If we know 90% of the jobs you're looking for are not posted or advertised, why spend your time in that spot? The reality is most people do this because they don't know what else to do, and they feel like doing something is better than nothing, right? It's the illusion of productivity. And here's the truth. If you want to find your ideal job in the shortest time possible, you need to stop looking for a job. Yes, I said it. Stop looking for a job. You need to start looking for companies and then connecting with the key decision makers inside of those companies. It's that old Stephen Covey, start with the end in mind, reverse engineer the process. This is where the results will come from. You just need to know how to target them, how to target the ideal companies that fit your ideal profile of a company that you're looking for. Like I've said already, most executives are high performers, right? All they need is a system to follow, a business plan to execute, if you will, right? It's amazing to me how much more effective people are when you take who they need to call or what they need to do or how they need to call, out of the equation of thinking and concern in their job search. I find if you give a system to executives with an ideal list of companies and key decision makers inside of those companies with contact information, it's easy to execute and the results ultimately happen. It becomes just a systematic process to get to where you want to go. Now, here are the reasons that people focus on the wrong areas, right? And the struggles that people have. They think that they don't have time to research, and it does take a lot of time to research, but it's super important. They're really preparation is important. A lot of times people feel like they don't want to take the time to do the research. They just want to be more productive and reach out to people. If you do it too prematurely, you're going to blow an opportunity potentially. And I just don't want to see have that happen to you. Now, a lot of times people also think I'm not clear on what I want to do, so I don't know what companies to target. And that's where, when you get to the end of this webinar, those 2 sheets I think are going to help you really dial that in, right? A lot of people feel like they're not good at networking. They're not a good networker. The bottom line is, I'm a big fan of the statement. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly until you're good at it. Now, you don't have to go out there and be a professional networker. You don't have to be, the most popular guy in the room, so to speak. I understand there are a lot of different personalities and skill sets that lead to success. Don't let that fear hold you back from focusing on the right areas and reaching out to people in the right way. You don't have to be an amazing network to be effective. Lack of clarity about what they want. It's a big one. You need to be able to, if you can't clearly and concisely tell me exactly what you're looking for in a way that would make me want to buy you if I had an opportunity, you're not clear enough about what you want. Now, job boards are simply easier. I hear that all the time because it's like, I could just go there, find job posting, because believe me, out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of, probably hundreds of thousands of job posts out there, yes, there are executive positions that are posted. Good luck. Have fun. It's easier to submit a resume to them, absolutely, to a job posting, but it's certainly not more effective, right? And don't mistake activity for productivity, and that's a big thing that I find that people make for a mistake. Here's the bottom line. You need to stop looking for jobs and you need to start looking for companies, and you need to handle your search like you're launching a business. You are a business in and of yourself, right? At the leadership level, you are a product, you are a business. Begin with the end in mind, reverse engineer your plan to connect with ideal companies, make a list, then work the list. This is a sales job, make no mistake about it. So my question is, do you think this would work for you? If you could have a system that allowed you to not rely on job boards and recruiters, if we could help you position yourself as the best investment in the market for what you do, and you had a targeted list of ideal companies with executable sales and marketing plan to go with it, do you think that would help you? Now, I know that while it wasn't necessarily a ton of information, it can kind of feel like drinking from a fire hose from time to time. And I tried to find the funniest picture I could find when it comes to illustrating that, because I know after a conversation it can be overwhelming. This is how people feel. But ultimately, I hope this information was able to illuminate, what's holding you back and what you can do to move forward and get faster results with your job search. But more importantly, I hope it helps you to realize that while your search won't necessarily be easy, success really funnels down to these 2 simple principles, right? If you can dial in those principles, the rest is really, really going to come much easier. Now, it's impossible for me to give you all the information that we do, right? Obviously, I try to dial this down. I'm trying to keep it to about a 60-minute presentation as much as possible. But I tried to cover the things that are the most important, that you just need to understand. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to spend the next 10 minutes going over a very special offer that I created to help you find your ideal job in the shortest time possible. How many of you are excited about the concept, if you could get all this and have just an amazing package and have those two areas figured out and have a coach help you put this together and get your brand and help you communicate and articulate your value and coach you through that part, and then we gave you the plan and the list and the ideal companies, and we helped you do the research, and we gave you the list of the companies and the ideal decision makers and their contact information, and showed you how to go through that whole process and use all the tips and tricks. How much would that make a difference in your search? Now, I know I've covered a lot. Okay, I'm getting some good responses. A lot of people saying that yes, they'd love it. They want to hear more. Okay, cool. So I'll go into this. Yeah, okay. So I'm seeing some stuff. Okay, so no, that's awesome. So I'm going to get into this then. I know, you're probably feeling overwhelmed. How many of you are feeling overwhelmed by all this? Like feeling like you don't know where to start. And maybe it's too much to manage. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yes. Okay. So let's do this. Let me get into this. I'm going to get into kind of like what you're gonna get, what we have, what it all looks like. So first and foremost, I know that the design, you need an award-winning resume. A resume, an executive pro forma. I don't know why the middle one is blurred out there, but that is what it is. But I must have had a formatting error in the PowerPoint. But it's ultimately having a pro forma, which is a one-page document that shows you as an asset, right? That's an investment sheet. Think about it this way. Every investment out there has a pro forma that an investor wants to look over before they invest, and that's what we believe every single executive should have, right? So we believe very few people do this the right way. Rather than leading with a resume, you got to lead with that pro forma or another outreach strategy. Now, while I'm pretty good at what I do, I feel I am certainly no resume writer. Now, I could give you amazing feedback on your resume, but that's where Amy Adler comes into the mix. Now, you can see here, if you don't know what a Tory Award is, it is basically like a Golden Globe for resume writers. It is the pinnacle of resume writing that pretty much every resume writer goes for. Amy, you can see here, these are a couple of her awards. She went from being an award-winning resume writer. She still obviously does what she does, but she can no longer be eligible for those awards because she's actually now, you can see here on the left side, she's a competition judge. So she actually is on the panel that helps decide who wins these awards, right? And that is the person, Amy is, we partnered with her, and she's actually the person who looks over all of our resume department. She goes through every resume that ever comes through our department. She makes sure that it goes through her quality control, that it meets her standards, and that she works with our team to make sure that our clients get everything they need. So you're going to get that. Now, just to kind of give you an idea, this is kind of what some people are saying about Amy. She's phenomenal. I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. You can read those real quickly. But what she does is absolutely phenomenal. Now, here's the bottom line. You look out there at any kind of executive level resume package with anybody that knows anything about this stuff. This is pretty much on par with what you're going to pay for a good executive resume writing package. You're going to get an award-winning resume. You're going to get your LinkedIn optimized. You're going to get your executive pro forma. That's the one-page networking document. And then you're also going to get a pattern interrupt cover letter. And what that's all about is, remember, when somebody sees your cover letter, a recruiter or a decision maker at a company, you get 6 seconds to captivate them and to interrupt the pattern that they have of looking at it and throwing it in the waste bin. We need to interrupt that pattern and get them to keep their eyes on your letter for longer and get them to keep their attention on you for longer. And so normally all this stuff valued out at $3,488. Now, that's not what you're going to pay, but that is the total value of this package that I've put together. And so on top of that, I've said multiple times that your success is not about just getting a resume. I could give you a resume. I could optimize your LinkedIn profile. And the bottom line is I could do all that stuff for you, but if you don't know what to do once you have that tool in your hand, it's kind of like me trying to go build a house. You can give me a hammer and a saw and all the tools I need. That house is going to fall over. Heck, my wife, she calls it the Leaning Tower of Chris. We bought a tower, a shelf for the garage at IKEA, and I built it, and it literally leans over, right? So that's just like, I cannot build anything, right? So I could have all the right tools. I don't know how to use them. And, the one tool I'm really good at, thank goodness, is my phone, right? I'm really good with my phone. And so that gets me a long ways. But for you, that's one of the reasons I created the LinkedIn Networking Academy, is because it's not enough just to optimize your LinkedIn profile. It's not enough to just give you those tools. This LinkedIn Networking Academy is all about teaching you everything you need to know about how to leverage LinkedIn. What are the scripts? What are the tools? What are the outreaches? Everything that you need to know. It's going to help you create engaging posts. It's going to help you find and target and connect with key decision makers. It's going to, when I give you a list of companies, right, it's going to help you work that list more effectively when you follow these processes. Now, normally, think about it like this. Most people think of LinkedIn as a B2B tool, as a business-to-business tool. If you look at anybody who's really doing any online marketing effectively, growing a business, they're doing it leveraging LinkedIn effectively now online. And with an individual who's looking for an executive level position, I always say, think about your job search like a business. You are a business of one. You are a product in the marketplace you need to sell. So treat LinkedIn like you're doing B2B. And if you do that, you're going to be more effective. And it's the number one sales tool for your executive search to help you find what you're going to be looking for, because you're either going to be discovered through this process on LinkedIn, and people are going to see you and they're going to discover you and they're going to reach out to you, or you're going to be vetted. If you connect with somebody outside, they're going to look at your LinkedIn profile and they're either going to dismiss you or it's going to validate you, and it's going to accentuate your brand, and they're going to reach out to you. And handle your search like a business, and you'll go a lot more ways. The bottom line is this: I've spent hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of hours on LinkedIn honing my craft, testing things out, trying it all. And the bottom line is I really put all the most vital things into this course, and I try to make it as plug and play as possible so you can spend your time focusing on the activities that work and get you results in the shortest time possible. And that's why I do this. Now, that LinkedIn Networking Academy, we normally sell. If you want to go buy that alone, you can go buy it. We have it on a page. I can send you a link. All you have to do is email me, chris@careernextagency.com. I'll send you a link. You can get it for $997. But I'm including it in this package. Now, after that, I mentioned it a second ago, as part of leveraging LinkedIn, is a customized research and targeting. Think about it this way. This is where so many people struggle, and it's one of the most important parts of your search. It's one of the most vital elements of your success, is making sure you know how to target the right companies, that you know that you have the right information, not just the right companies. I mean, how many of you, well, let me ask you this. If I asked you to write me a list of 25 companies or 50 companies that you'd be excited to work with, could you do that for me? The answer is no, probably, right? I talk to most people and they say, well, if I could I could probably get you a list of 5 if I put my head to it and really thought hard, maybe 10 if I stretch myself, but you're not going to get predictable results targeting 10 companies, right? So that's why we have this software that we subscribe to. It's going to give you the company name. It's going to give you the geographic targeting. If you say I can only be in Phoenix, Arizona, if maybe you're willing to relocate, but you're only willing to relocate to certain areas, maybe you're open geographically to anywhere in the country. Whatever it is, we can dial it in to find the companies that only fit your criteria. We can find the executive team on that company, the key decision makers that work in that organization. Once again, you can see how that information would be super powerful, right? If I could show you who the CEO was, if I could show you who the CTO was, or the VP of sales, or something of that nature, and I could show you the top 5 or 10 executives for every company, now you can reverse engineer that process and connect with them on LinkedIn and reach out to them. It's going to give you their contact phone number, their email address a lot of times. most times. And if not, I'm going to show you the secret training that we have. It's included in the LinkedIn Networking Academy about how to find emails even if they're not public, because we have a secret tool, a trick that's pretty phenomenal that's included in there. It's amazing. It gives you their mailing address if you want. And we do this. We give you up to 200 companies or 1,000 contacts for companies included in there. And think about it. So now you can take that and we can create a marketing plan on how you want to reach out to those people. Because now there's no question about how you're going to do this. You know how you're going to do it. Now it's just about execution. And that's why, if I sound excited right now or worked up, it's because this is the part of the job to me. This is so exciting because this is where, trust me, I talk to people every single day. This is where they struggle. This is where people hit the wall and hit the roadblock and they come up short. And if I could solve this problem for you, and you are, once you have your brand and all your documents in place and you're clearly articulated, everything gets easier. Everything falls into place. I promise you. So this is going to help you find companies that you didn't know exist. We're going to give you these key contacts. It's going to, like I said before, it's going to help you accelerate your results on LinkedIn. And ultimately, you could do this on your own. I mean, I don't want to sit here and try to convince you to do something that you can't do on your own, because you can take this information, and if you decide to not take advantage of this special deal, I hope you do this. I hope you go out and you do the research. But think about it this way. Doing it this way is going to save you hundreds of hours, legitimately, of research to find the same companies. And it's going to allow you to spend your time where the results come from, where you're going to get, spend your time where the money is. That ultimately, right? And ultimately in this, your time, the money is where the people are, and connecting with people and getting the results and having those conversations. Now, people come to us just for this thing. Once again, if you feel like, hey, Chris, you know what? I've already got my resume dialed in. I'm comfortable with it. I think it's amazing. I'm very confident and comfortable with how I communicate myself and my value. I just want this list. You can come to us just for this, and people pay. The bottom line is, I'll show you in a second, but we pay thousands of dollars every year to have access to this information, to be part of an organization. And the reality is, the reason executives don't use it is it's cost prohibitive to be able to get access to this information. Now, normally for this research targeting package, we charge $1,497 just for that alone. If you want it, once again, like the LinkedIn course, call me, reach out to me. I will get that for you, and we can work with you on just that level. If that's what you feel you need and you're comfortable with everything else, be happy to help you. But you can see here now with everything, we got the award-winning resume, the LinkedIn optimization, the executive pro forma, the pattern interrupt cover letter, the LinkedIn Networking Academy, the ideal company research and targeting and plan that goes with that. We're at a value right now of $5,982. Now, this is where I also know that it takes a little more. People need a little extra coaching. And so I created a virtual coaching platform, because a lot of times people, when they go work with these executive search firms, or they go out and they work with a recruiter that will help them, they get charged. Like, you could go to a place like Korn Ferry, and they're going to charge you $250 to $450 an hour for their coaching. That's just what it is. And those coaches are saying the same things over and over and over and over again. And so what I did was I created a course that ultimately we do everything from focusing on networking, we focusing on your personal branding, we do all sorts of different content that's ultimately we put it in an online membership platform, and we give you access to this. And instead of paying that $250 plus per hour for coaching, we're going to give you the same information inside of a digital course, like literally tens, if not, I don't even know how many hours. There's so many hours worth of video in here for coaching. You can search based on the topic, based on your interest level, based on what you think you need help with, I should say, and it will help you get to where you want to go. We give you the best info. We save you thousands on coaching. Ultimately, I think one of the benefits of this is you get to work on your time frame. And we've taken the hundreds of hours of conversations that we've had with coaching with executives, right? And we've put it into digital form. That's all we've done, right? That's all we've done. And you're going to get access to our private LinkedIn group, right? So you need help, you have questions. There's a platform that we have. It's a private group. People who are involved in the program and some other people who want to be involved in this. We have some other ways people can get into the group, but they want to help, and they're, maybe they can even network you and help you with your job search a little bit as well. So it's awesome to have that support group, and it's literally, to me, it's a no-brainer. Now, this virtual coaching platform, we charge $997 for that. And if you wanted that and you wanted access to that, think about it. It's like 4 hours of coaching, but you're getting hundreds of hours of content. And it's going to just literally, it will change the effectiveness of your search, right? And so now when you take in all the resume stuff, the LinkedIn Networking Academy, the ideal research and targeting, the virtual coaching platform, we're at $6,979 of total value, of real value, that if you wanted to buy a la carte, you absolutely can. You can go through there, do it one at a time, and you could do it, and it'll work. But then, here's another thing that I know that people need help with. Executive Interview Masterclass. By the time you hit the interview stage, you're gonna need help. There's going to come a time when you need to. It's obviously it's the goal. You're striving to get in front of people for this final interview, and when you get there, I want to make sure you get one swing at this, and you better hit a grand slam. And I want to make sure that I do everything in my power to help you prepare for the interview. I want to help make sure you know how, when you start the interview, that you do it with poise and you do it with posture and power, and you are not just being meek and responding and reactive. You know how to answer questions effectively during the interview. You learn the most effective ways to get the interview to the next stage, right? That's one of the biggest challenges. Your goal isn't to land the job in the interview. Your goal is to get to the next stage of the interview process, right? So you got to handle it systematically. Increase your value by asking the right questions, right? I mean, it's not just about getting the job. You're not going to accept the job if you don't get the right value. And if you can elevate your value, that's even better. We're going to teach you how to follow up. We're going to teach you how to make the right ask. We're going to teach you how to negotiate. There's so much more that goes into this, but we have this course. And once again, what we've done is we've taken the best information, the best practices, and we've taken the knowledge that we've extracted from hundreds of interviews, and we give you only the information that works, and it saves you from making crucial mistakes because, like I said, you get one swing, so you better hit it. Now, this Executive Interview Masterclass, we normally charge $497. If you want this, you can call me. Once again, I'll get it to you. I'll get you the link. You can get it for $497. But the bottom line is, we're including in here. That's $7,476 worth of real value, but I threw in here just for fun because this is just my personality. But ultimately, think about the time cost, the opportunity cost of the time saved with the research and the stress and the peace of mind. To me, I don't know about you, but for me, that is absolutely priceless. Like I talk to people, going through their job search every day, and I always say you got to be handling it like a job itself, right? But when you're home, a lot of people aren't used to working from home, and so they have their kids there, they have their animals, they have their wives or husbands, and it's distracting. And making sure that you can spend your time focused on the areas that are actually producing results for you, that will give you so much peace of mind. It'll help your relationships. It'll just be so. It'll be life-changing during your job search, and these are skills that you get to take with you forever. So here's the bottom line. Let me ask you this. How much money do you make? I know it's a personal question. We're getting personal here. If you make $100,000 a year, it's costing you $8,333 a month to be out of work. And you can see the numbers here. If you make $250,000, it's $20,833 a month to be out of work, right? So when you look at the total value, right, it seems like a no-brainer. So if all this program did for you was help you open more doors to access more opportunity, would it be worth it? If all it did for you was help you to connect with more key decision makers and find your ideal opportunities before it becomes public, which puts you in a less competitive environment to land the job, increasing your odds, would it be worth it? If all this program did for you was help you to position yourself as the best investment opportunity for your ideal targeted companies, which increases your appeal and value to those organizations, would it be worth it? And if all it did for you was to help you find your ideal job just 1 month faster than you would have found it on your own, what would that be worth to you, right? When I was putting this all together, I had two choices on kind of how I wanted to go. I could go the classic route and I could charge, the $15,000 like all the other executive search firms do. And, honestly, I think with what we do and how we do it, if I give the personal touch and I add I do everything we did where we were charging $15,000 before, and I added in all the technology and the support and the tools and the resources that we have, it's infinitely better, right? But I don't know if I didn't want to do that. What I did was I went out and I invested hundreds of hours of my time and thousands of dollars to create a system that ultimately could help people get their job search result that they were looking for in the shortest time possible. And, I did it. And I wanted to make it as affordable as possible. So while we do have this $15,000 package, I'm going to tell you, I think you're crazy. If you pay me that, like, I'm happy to work. I'm happy. I'm not in the game of turning money away by any stretch of the imagination. I'll take your $15,000 and I will help you and I will give you the best service and you will be blown away. But honestly, if you're a self-driven individual, all the same information that I will give you and coach you and the support and the groups and everything you're going to have access to, you're going to have that and you're going to get, all of that and more probably than you'd get from any personal coach, because you could do it all in your time frame, and it's all going to be in the course that I create. So once again, this is just kind of a snapshot of everything that you're going to get that goes with it. Now, here's, once again, $7,400 in value, and I'm not done because I want to throw a special bonus in. We have something, we have a weekly coaching platform that I do. Now, what I do is I get on and I do a weekly live coaching webinar. What I do is I talk about a new topic every week. I have a support email and a support phone number. People can call in and they can ask questions. And what they do is they ask the questions and I answer all the questions on the webinar every single week, right? And literally everything is watched, or everything is recorded in that webinar. And so if you can be there live, awesome, take advantage of that. And if you can't be there live, everything is recorded and uploaded into a member area that you have access to. And you can imagine, so I know I've been talking up the courses and I know I've been talking up, everything that we have so far because it is amazing. But the bottom line is what I experience is that it's inevitable that you're going to need some help on some level. You're going to hit something. The way I say it on the video isn't going to click with you. Maybe you tried it and you're frustrated. You're hitting a wall. That's just going to happen. The bottom line is people who buy digital courses most of the time don't fulfill completely. They maybe get through 70%. And I don't want to see you go just halfway or 70% of the way. I want to see you execute and get the results that you're looking for. And I don't want you to feel like I never want you to feel like you don't have the support that you need to be successful. So this is why I put together this weekly webinar. You can attend it live. You can watch the replays, whatever you want to do. You'll have access to the weekly archives. Like I said, I'm sorry, I'm repeating this a little bit. I got a little ahead of myself a couple slides ago. You have the support line. You can, chances are you're going to have a question about something. And the bottom line is if you have a question about something, somebody else is. So this is what allows me to scale the coaching. Rather than charge $250 an hour for coaching, I find if I just do this in a group setting where we have this, and you can keep anonymity. I never say your names, but the questions are relevant. You could talk about your industry. You could talk about, your question, all that stuff. It allows me to scale the trainable and make it affordable to everybody so you get the best value, the best information, the best executive coaching in the industry. And honestly, the price is amazing. So normally this is what I do. I charge $197 for this. And we just launched this not too long ago. It's an amazing program. I'm super excited about it. I think it's really going to change the industry. It's $197 a month. And at that price, that's a steal. I mean, you're literally going to go in and get hours and hours of coaching for $197 a month. Probably tens of hours of coaching if you take advantage of all the different stuff that kind of comes with the program. But here's what I wanted to do for you. I wanted to give you the first month for free, just to give you a chance to experience it. If you love it, there's no commitment. If you love it, it's $47 a month after that. So it's going to save you $150 a month because you took advantage of this whole program. I'm throwing this in there. There's no time commitment. Once again, on the $47 a month, if you decide you get your job, you want to do it, and you can cancel it at any point in time. If you decide, I have a lot of people that have told me they love it so much, that they love the information so much that they want to keep into it, keep going with it, because at that price, the bottom line is most of the people we work with, the next job that we help them find isn't going to be their last job, right? So they are ultimately, once you go through this process, you understand that your career management, that this process is something that you need to commit to, and it's not something you just need to be doing when you find a job. And so it plugs you into the network. You have access to this network, and for that alone, a lot of people are finding that it's worth the money just to stay involved in it every single month. But once again, no commitments at all. Now, with that program, with that savings, if you just take it over 6 months, because that's about the average time that it takes for our clients to find what they're looking for. It could be a little less, could be a little more. I make no guarantees on any of that. If anybody ever makes you guarantees on that end, run as fast as you can in the other direction. I promise you, it's snake oil. But the bottom line is that's a $900 savings over 6 months at $150 a month of savings. Did I do that math right? Yeah, I think I did. So that's $8,376 in total value that I'm giving you with this program, with this platform. And for this webinar, you stayed here to the end. I can't believe I'm doing this. Let me put this into perspective for you. If you went to my website right now, you could buy this same product, all the full prices as it is. Like I said, just for the resume alone, we had a sale the other day where it went from $3,497 to $2,997. That was just for the resume. I'm doing this webinar right now. And I'm doing this because I'm looking for success stories. We're launching this whole program, and we've got all these different things that are coming out, and we're constantly adding to them. I'm constantly looking for people to be part of this, to give me feedback, and looking to be success stories and willing to be testimonials and do stuff like that for me once we help you find the success that you're looking for, right? Now, I'm looking to take all this and put it together. You can look around the internet, like I said before, you're going to find other executive resume writers who write your resume and do all the things, for the resume, the pro forma, the LinkedIn profile, the cover letter, all those things, the LinkedIn optimization. You can get all that, it'll be about $3,000. But they won't have all the other things that go with it, the targeting, the business plan, the strategic outreach plan. And so I'm telling you, this package is going up to $5,000, $4,997 as soon as 30 sign up. The first 30 people, this is a special limited, and I'm not trying to give you, unnecessary pressure or anything of that nature, but I am telling you that this $2,997 value, it's a value at $4,997. Like, you can see it, what we do, people need it, I believe in it, I love it, and at $29.97, it, to me, my goal with this for the next 30 people to kind of go into our group, our launch group, my goal was to make this a no-brainer offer, that if you are here, if you're looking at it and you're motivated, you had no option but to say yes. So at this point in time, I see you have two options. You can take this information that I've done for you. Hopefully you've seen, or the information that I've shared with you, hopefully it's at least made sense. Literally there's nothing that I've shown you here that, or very little, I should say. There's some stuff that's going to be hard to do on your own, but a lot of it you can go out and do on your own. But there's opportunity cost to everything. That's kind of the way I look at this. And I wanted, like I said, to make this a no-brainer decision. And so you can go do this on your own. You could try it and you can struggle, or you can maybe have success and, whatever. I'm not sure where you are. But one thing I know is nothing is going to get you a faster result than focusing on the information that I shared with you. Right? So whether you work with us or not, please go out and do that. Don't focus on all the other noise. Focus on the information that I shared with you. Dial those things in and then work on everything else. And it will have a huge impact in your results. So I guess my last question to you is, what do you have to lose, right? Now, I've created this offer, because if you're looking to get results, like I said, it's a no-brainer. Even if it helps you just find your job in 2 weeks faster, and you make $100,000 a year, it's going to save you over $4,000 on that. Just if you're at the $250,000 range, if you find your job a week faster than you would on your own, utilizing everything you have in this course, even if you take one little tidbit out of it, it's going to be a profitable investment. I don't know where you're going to find another investment anywhere else that's going to be able to do that for you. And so once again, just kind of give you one last picture. This is everything that you're going to get. It's an extremely awesome value. I'm really proud of it. I really truly am. It's going to be $5,000 ultimately soon, and at $5,000, I'm still really confident. It's a super good value. I'm excited about it. And it is what it is. But because I'm a little crazy, you know what? I want to do something else. I want to offer a special bonus for the first 10 because I'm really looking for those action takers, so to speak. If you are somebody who's looking to take action, I want to give you a free extra month of the $197 a month coaching platform. So that means instead of 1 month out of the gate for free, I'm going to give you an extra month for free. So you get 2 months of that coaching program for free for the first 10 people. Everybody after the first 10 people, are going to be paying after the first month if you want to stay in the program. So it'll give you access to it. Everybody gets it for the first month. But if you're among the first 10, you're going to get access to this coaching program for the first 2 months. So anyway, whether you choose to work with us or not, I want to give you this gift because like I promised at the beginning, it's obvious to me if you stay to this point that you have a strong desire to make some change, that this is important to you. And like I said, knowing how to communicate and articulate your value and your brand and position yourself as the number one investment opportunity in the marketplace is the number one indicator for success for this. So while nothing's going to beat working with us, and I really think it's a no-brainer for the first 30 people, especially at this point in time, I wanted to make sure I held my word. I gave you these 2 worksheets. This is your bonus for staying on for the whole webinar and taking advantage of it. You can look at the link below. All you have to do is type that in. You can click on it or type it into a web browser. It'll bring you there. You can get your free downloads, and I look forward to serving you. I hope you go out there and crush it. Have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk to you on the next webinar, or maybe I'll see you on the podcast. And I've never ended it like this, but good luck, and reach out with any questions that you have. God bless.